मॉर्निंग एंड वेलकम टू गणेश शॉट। गणेश शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। Today we're going to talk about the India-US. Morning and welcome to Ganesh Short. Ganesh Short में आप सबका स्वागत है। Today we're going to talk about the India-US. Morning and welcome to. There's a Sree, there is a bit of a loop back. I'll have to get out.
Yes. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, please carry on. There's a Sree, there is a bit of a loop back. I'll have.
Is it okay now? Viewers, General Ravi Shankar just stepped out because we have a loop back coming in, and he'll be joining us momentarily. But I am the guest and he is the host, but we also will play the role opposite. So if you have not liked this video, do like this video. And there are some interesting facets that are emerging, especially from yesterday. Something very, very different happened, something very, I would call interesting happened between United States and India at the Republic Day celebrations. And we have a slide deck. General Shankar will share that with us. We'll talk about it. And also this Jack and the Rabbit kind of a situation. Ted Cruz, why is he suddenly saying all these things? You have to go back to 2016 to understand how many senators have presidential ambitions. And he's back here. Sir, let me just finish one thing I was going to say.
Good.
So viewers, you have to go back to 2016 to understand how many senators have presidential ambitions. In 2016 primaries for the Republican Party, there was Trump, there was Marco Rubio, there was the other son of George Bush, and there was Ted Cruz. And there were others, Tulsi Gabbard, and maybe not. I'm sorry, I'm getting mixed up here. So there were all these people, all of them entertained presidential ambitions. Could this outburst from Ted Cruz, this leak that the vice president and Trump and somebody else, I think Navarro, decided to scuttle the tariff deal, is that the reason? Or the General Shankar has an even more what I would call as a nuanced look at this whole thing, considering what has been happening in the last 48 hours. Over to you, sir.
Oh, thanks a lot, sir. Sorry for this interruption, folks, but there was a problem about a loop back, a technical loop back. I suppose something happened and I couldn't. Before I take off, I read this very nice thing. I thought I'll share it with all of you. As there's chaos in China, China remains the only market where the house can be on fire and the official statement is temperature normal. So that defines where China is today. Things are bad and we'll keep track of it. We'll get back. But let me tell you, this is an interesting picture. This was put out by Sergio Gore, who's the ambassador of US ambassador to India. He's also the special representative for South Asia and South Central Asia. Right. Now see this picture. Right, I want to explain it and then put the thing which Sree was talking in context. This is of course Sergio Gore with 3 chiefs and the CDS, and this gentleman is very interesting. He's the American US Secretary of War for Army. In their system, they have a Secretary of War who's Pete Hegseth. He's got 3 secretaries, one for Army, Navy, and Air Force. He's here, and this gentleman has been here for the past 2 days. He's had discussions with the Army chief, he's had discussions with the CDS, and they themselves have put it out. And that's how I came to know. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known also. And of course, this was yesterday at the Rashtrapati Bhavan reception, Republic Day reception. And then he goes and takes a picture with Mr. Piyush Goyal, both of them. Very happy looking, right? And everything is good. And, this gives a thing that the India-US relationships are going to go back on the high road, But interestingly, I saw this article yesterday in Financial Express where it says Trump Vance Navarro stalled India trade deal. Right? And this came out with a leaked phone call and all that. And it is ascribed to Axios. And Axios in this article says in secret recordings, Cruz trashes Trump tariffs, Vance, all that. and it gives a complete different opinion. From this, if you read this article, it appears as if Trump, Vance, and of course the rest of the lot, Navarro, they were the ones who put up the red flag on the India-US trade deal, right? And so, what's going on? And the trade deal has not come through. We know that it's not happening. I don't think it's going to happen in a hurry, notwithstanding whatever Trump spoke at Davos. So, where does Fred Cruz come in? What's happening there? And what are the signals here? Is it part of normal diplomacy? How do you read it, Sree, your view? Because after all, you have a better view of the Republicans, having dealt with them for so long.
Thank you so much, sir. And viewers, a request to all of you to please like this video wherever you're watching. It's coming on Ganashot as well as Gurus. First off, I would like to request General Shankar to put his slide deck back and go to that Piyush Goyal picture.
Yeah, I will.
Viewers, I don't know what you think, but when I saw this picture, I was reminded of a song. Hum saath saath hain. But then the same line goes next time. Hum saath saath hain. That is like, are we really, together? So,
yeah.
There is a whole bunch of stuff going on, as you may know, some of you may know. Piyush Goyal has been actually traveling around India also. There was a picture of him meeting the RSS ideologue, Gurumurthy, at his residence late at night. But amazingly, there was very good video of all the stuff happening there, and Piyush Goyal taking leave from him and so on and so forth. So something is going on. But let me just take a step back here and tell you what I think about the United States politics. Viewers, almost, I would say 60 to 70% of the congressmen and senators have backing of some sugar daddy. Who's a sugar daddy? A sugar daddy is somebody who says, okay, you be my face in the Congress or in the Senate so that I can distance myself in case the proverbial excrement hits the rotating mechanism fixed on the ceiling. And this has been going on. Even J.D. Vance, his sugar daddy is Peter Thiel, the eBay guy. And so on and so forth. Trump is his own man. That's what makes Trump different. Trump's only reason for becoming president was that Obama trashed him at a dinner. Roasted Trump. This was, I think, 2011 or 2000, somewhere in Obama's 8-year term. Just put it that way. And he walked out of that and said, I will become president. Then the second reason why he wants, and the other reason why he wants Nobel Peace Prize is because Obama got it. So he wants to say, same to same. I also want to get it. It's got nothing to do with ambition or anything like that. He just says, okay, I did this, I did this, I did this. I stopped India-Pakistan war for the 100th time. Nobel Peace Prize people are all acting dumb or deaf or both. So this is one other story. But if you take a look at what is the field for 2028, Ted Cruz will think he has a chance. Marco Rubio will think he has a chance. J.D. Vance has suddenly now jumped on the top of the pack here because he's the vice president and presumptive Republican nominee. So if he can take pot shots at any of these people, that would perhaps raise his standing amongst his sugar daddies. I don't know who Ted Cruz's sugar daddies are. He's from Texas. He's a Hispanic American, and that it's basically going up against Marco Rubio with similar credentials. And who don't know? We don't know. They could even neutralize each other out, leaving J.D. Vance as the presumptive nominee. All that is going on. My take here is 2 years from now, there's going to be another presidential election, and Ted Cruz could be like, I'm also here, and he wanted to come up with something sensational. I have done some research. I'm not 100% sure Ted Cruz is a neocon. Now you can say, who is a neocon? Neocon is a neoconservative. There was a guy called, I think, Billy Crystal, if I remember correctly, Kristol. And this guy used to live in Philadelphia. And when he was the one who defined this thing called neoconservatives. People like John Bolton, even Marco Rubio is supposed to be a neocon. All these people want is war, 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 war. They are aligned with NATO. They always want war. They want to have some pretext or the other to go to war. That is the underlying thing about neoconservative. Interestingly, at the same place in Philadelphia, Bibi Netanyahu also grew up. And he actually used to hang out with the Crystal household. So you now see how Israel also wants to have the same kind of a mindset. Sometimes it doesn't have to use the stick, but it seems to want to use the stick. Be that as it may, Ted Cruz could also be a neocon, and this could also be a way to just kind of shake the thing a little bit up. Now that EU and India are about to sign a trade treaty, EU might be getting back at Trump. You don't know how to make deals. We do. Because remember, sir, if you remember, 2 days ago, EU said that they are breaking their deal with US, free trade agreement deal. And so there is more coming from his slide deck, because there are some players that he's going to reveal in the course of time, and that will become very interesting. Why Greenland is suddenly the big thing, and I think one thing that Trump has done, to his credit, is he has really got China on the run, absolutely on the run. You should watch some of the things that monologues I'm talking about. The Iran-China petro deal. I took it from what General Ravi Shankar said, that look, this is what is happening, and I completely broke it out. Something called Chooxin, Chooxin. That is the shadow banking that happens inside China. What is it, and so on. There's going to be one more thing as to how Iran is going to be smuggling petrol through Afghanistan and Pakistan. There's a different thing, Rahbar or something like that. That's another shadow banking system. I'll be talking about that in another monologue. Do watch that. You need to understand all these things, but be that as it may, America appears to be a little bit comfortable vis-a-vis its status with China, with all the palace intrigues inside China also. So why Ted Cruz is saying all these things? My humble opinion, he wants to stay relevant for the 2028 presidential race. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Look, folks, the point is this. As far as what Cruz does, what US does, everything, let them do it. It's their headache. I'm looking at it from a very simplistic point of view. How is the India-US deal going to go ahead? Right? And let's look at it from a US perspective, or India, the way I look at it, USA and all that. I do understand that Sergio Gore and the establishment there are playing the good cop and the bad cop. Okay, that's part of the deal. But let's look at the factors, because unless you look at the factors which govern this relationship, right, we are going to go off. Okay, I mean, that's what Shreyarji also said, and I'm going to outline these things and I'll invite his comments. You see, US has changed its priorities. They want Greenland. Greenland is all about tech investment. Northern routes and all is fine. Who are the people who have invested into this? You'll be surprised. And they're investing from 2019. Ronald Lauder, who's the heir to that Estee Lauder perfume thing. Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, Bloomberg, and surprise, Howard Lutnick. They all invested into Greenland, into rare earth fields. Of course, the northern routes are there. Plus, Trump has got success in Venezuela and Panama. Why should he want to come all the way to India? The focus today is on Ukraine, Gaza, Russia, the deal. Why? There's real estate and minerals. Okay, now you look at this changed US priority. I'll come to China, we'll discuss that. So don't you think in this kind of a context, India loses its relevance and, China starts, US starts looking at all these? Your view, and I'll just get the slide back. You can comment on the first part. We'll go one by one because that will make it more interesting.
Yes. Viewers, I would like you to come back and watch live at 6:30 p.m. my conversation with Mohan Kumar Sonti. And there we actually lay down the bottom line about how much Indian Americans have contributed to the American economy and the American dream. And for America, why I'm saying that is you will understand the importance of Indian Americans in the American ecosystem. And we are breaking it down bare. Mohan is very good at numbers. Do watch that one, because all of us need to understand. Each needs the other. And I don't think Trump will ignore India at this point of time. Trump is also slighting a little bit because he didn't think that EU and India would sign this free trade agreement. Now you combine this with the fact that Bangladesh has come out of the LDC. I don't remember, it's the lowest developed countries, which means it used to enjoy a tax-free, tariff-free entry into Europe and UK. That's going off from 1st February. Also, they have to comply to many other rules and restrictions for environment and other things. So essentially, the story from Bangladesh is a lot of their garment factories are shutting down because they will not be compliant with the new requirements and rules. So Bangladesh, like is in a huge amount of problem. But because there's a free trade deal, India now doesn't have that 15% handicap that Bangladesh enjoyed with its garment exports. India is now level playing field. So garment industry, I think, is a go bye-bye for Bangladesh. And with EU, see, the trade is not small, it's quite large. And EU needs a low-cost producer, just like America needs a low-cost producer. And I think EU also has technology that India wants. India should always be ready to be in a world without United States. The more that gets projected, the more US will want to come back and do a free trade agreement deal. So, all the bonhomie notwithstanding, I think things are going to go at their own pace. And I'm not 100% sure how much it's going to, the trade agreement is going to materialize. I keep hearing this, that. One of the things that is being talked about is limited corn imports into India, and that's too specifically for ethanol, to mix it as a fuel to reduce the cost of gasoline. But once it comes in, it will get repurposed into other places. So that is not going to be stoppable. Leave that. Let's get back to our thing. Sir, can you put that slide deck, please?
Yeah, I'm getting it back. 1 minute.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see this. Yeah,
so
let's look at this. Yeah, please go ahead.
So I see Ukraine needs a lot of investment. Russia needs a lot of investment. Gaza needs a lot of investment. And the Board of Peace is going to mandate some money from countries. I'm not sure. In fact, today, just moment before we went live, South Korea has been levied a 25% tariff again. So Trump is very unpredictable that way. So it's possible that all these big guys have invested in Greenland because they are thinking that they can get energy on the cheap, and therefore that can be the place where they can do all the training of the AI engines to train them for various topics and so on and so forth. So yeah, I mean, and they'll be very eager to see something come out of Greenland, even if it's going to be like one small corner of Greenland where they'll be doing all these things, such that the population is around that one city, Noel or something like that, New or something like that. Nook. Sorry. So, sir, I'm done with that part. Let's go to the next one, sir.
Yeah, China. Look, with what's happening in China, right? And what's happening in China is well known. I mean, I've been talking of it for the past 1 year. I think US doesn't perceive China to be a threat anymore. If China is not a threat, the Indo-Pacific interest starts receding. US interest in the Indo-Pacific. If the Indo-Pacific and China are not a threat, India's relevance is gone. You don't need this.
Yeah.
If that is there, then the whole thinking of China, I mean, the whole thinking of US has changed, and that's reflected in their Trump's Monroe Doctrine, or that national security strategy which he put out, or the new national defense strategy which has come out last week, signed by Peter Hegseth. So if you look at all this, this actually puts India and USA on divergent roads. Your views on that? Because the security aspect is what actually built the India-US relationship in the strategic partnership.
So after Operation Sindoor, remember I was in India at that time, May 8th, 9th, 10th. I was there till 21st or 22nd. And I flew back to the US and I had a one-on-one meeting with Congressman Radha Krishnamurthy, who's now running for Senate from the state of Illinois. And he's on the House Intel Committee. And I kind of asked him, what do you think happened? Because, see, I wanted to get their version. I was in India. I wasn't getting what was going on in the United States. And he said that India did good with what they had, but they have to go a long way. That was his one line. That was all he said. And here we're all thinking that India really smashed Pakistan, blah, blah, blah. But from the perception of United States, right or wrong is not the question. The perception of United States is India still has some ways to go as far as, in the being able to match up as far as arms and armaments are concerned. Now, China, we don't know. US continues to think that China is a formidable adversary, and India is not so convinced that it is. But US also thinks India is not that formidable. They rather respect Russia for that. Especially look at Oreshnik, right? Oreshnik they have not been able to shoot it down, which goes back to what you said in one of our hangouts. You said that if you want to take down a hypersonic missile, you have to take it down on its way up, not on its way down. It's too late. And so US thinks that India is not really important. And so at least it's good for India in the sense, instead of getting hyphenated with Pakistan, now it is getting hyphenated with China.
I don't think so. Let me put it this way. The hyphenation with Pakistan is, in fact, gone up. That's the next point. Pakistan is more irrelevant as far as Trump is concerned because he's put crypto investments out there. Pakistan is relevant for Iran and Middle East. That's what is coming out. And of course, Op Sindoor, he didn't get a Nobel Prize. So, in fact, the way I look at it, and that's why our turn from being last year, the India-US relationship rocks. Today, it's rocky. Okay? It's on the rocks today. It's gone. So, I think the combination of China and Pakistan have put the India-US relationship on a different pedestal altogether. Right? And also, let me tell you, I mean, Raja Krishnamurthy might want to become a senator and all, but I think his reading of the situation is completely awful. Let me put it this thing. Why? India, their perception, people who are in America feel India should behave the way America expects it to behave.
Yeah, of course.
We are completely different. We are doing things for our thing. And this analysis is not for should we make up with USA or not. And that is not my interest. My interest is what should India do. The question is, can I live without USA? It's no more that should I live. I mean, I don't have an alternative. We are generating alternatives. So to that extent, the Pakistan factor and the China factor are driving USA and India apart. I want your views on that, the macro issue.
Yes, there is some truth to what you are saying, General Shankar. But see, much of what Pakistan says that it has as an economy is based on what's happening in Iran. If Iran, there is a regime change and there is a reset inside how it runs its politics, that could actually be a really bad news for Pakistan. And because that economy is floating based on the differential in price. Sir, you mentioned how much Iranian citizen gets a discount on the petrol. It's 5% of the market price. In other words, what India is 100 rupees a gallon, 100 rupees a liter. They're getting at the equivalent of 5 rupees a liter. So most likely every household in Iran is probably selling the excess to get it smuggled down. 200,000 to 300,000 barrels a day to Afghanistan and Pakistan. And that economy has, it goes through all. Why is that guy called Maulana Diesel? Because his claim to fame was he was taking a cut on everything that was coming in, right? So I think Pakistan has a problem in that it thinks it has a lot of stuff, but what it has is in disputed territory. And US is just humoring all this because, in my opinion, right now, they want to take Iran out, at least the Khamenei regime out, put a more friendly regime. I'm going to not mince any words. This is not like Iranians are going to get democracy tomorrow, but at least it'll be a little bit more equitable situation than this. And to also, so that's going to bring Pakistan down even more, because once these subsidies are withdrawn and Iran becomes like a mainline producer where it has to go and compete with other countries on the world terms of pricing, China is gone for the count. 1/3 of its energy is going to be gone, or 1/4, and it has only Russia left. So US will start squeezing Russia there. Let's just leave that at that point.
Yeah.
I think Pakistan is going to really have a bad time, and so will Afghanistan. Both of them are having this shadow economy.
I go with you. I go with you. Pakistan and Afghanistan are going to have a problem. India can bail out Afghanistan in due course.
Yeah.
Pakistan is nothing. But the fact is, US will continue with Pakistan. His cryptocurrency, all that. And as far as he has gone with Pakistan, and that was evident in Davos also. Like we said, mushi mushi, with Pakistan. So that drives this relationship apart. It pushes the India-US relationship apart. And it is being deliberately done. And it is being deliberately done by the president of USA.
Yeah.
So, right? So I think it's going to be a major problem, and there's going to be no patch up. And this is going to get complicated by a few other issues which are part of the deal. Is that Bangladesh? You did talk of Bangladesh earlier, but I want to put this Bangladesh business in a different perspective. You see, why did the USA enter Bangladesh when it did enter and topple Hasina's government and all? Fundamentally, two reasons. One, get a handle into China, because from Bangladesh, that island which was there, you could hit St. Martin's Island. You have a reach into China. Second, put a cap on India. That was a very obvious thing. But today, what's happening? Bangladesh is where it is. It's in chaos. There's some elections will happen, something will happen, whatever will happen. After that, Bangladesh loses its relevance. It loses its relevance for China. It's only India which is left. And if that is the case, a stable Bangladesh is not worth for China, for USA. If they just leave Bangladesh in chaos, they'll do more harm for India. A stable Bangladesh is required by USA to tackle China. I mean, this is something what people have to understand. So my view is Bangladesh is set for a discard. They're going to leave thing. The day they leave Bangladesh and it is all discarded, then the fact is that India, the wedge between India and USA will grow. It's going to happen, right? So this is one issue, and of course, Trump expects India to join that board of peace, which I don't think India today will join. And the way things are, initially I thought it's a good idea to join if everyone joins, but hardly anyone has joined that board of peace. And it doesn't appear that Europe will join. It doesn't appear many people. China, of course, will never join. Even Russia has put it very conditionally, right? Unless I get a deal, I'll not join. And the Russian deal is very simple. Unless I get part of Ukraine, which I'm occupying, plus the balance of Donbass, I'm not endorsing it. So it's conditional. So in which case, India also will not. And now that the India-US EU deal is happening, there's already angst coming out of USA. Already Scott Bessent has given a talk, and others are also things. So overall, this relationship doesn't seem to be going in the right direction. Uh, Give me a sense of that, and then I'll say, look, I'll put it this way: while whether you like it or not, the relationship might not go in the right direction, but there are a whole lot of binders. this relationship can't break either. That's something which we'll get to next, but I would like you to first think of this relationship which is going up, out, outwards, away from
Sir,
each other, repulsion. Yeah.
so there is no way on earth this relationship is going to go away. It's in fact anything, it's going to get bound fast, stronger. Look, these are all statements made by people who have some short-term objectives. The long-term objective is between the people of America and the people of India, and those bonds are very, very strong. And I mean, just see what happened when Y2K happened, General Shankar, is the average American, even in a small town, started seeing the worth of the Indian engineer who was willing to work 24/7, 365 to make sure that even that little bug where the year code was only 2 digits, which was the problem, right? If there was any database where the year code was not 4 digit but 2 digits, it would roll over to zero and then the whole thing will go, haywire. That was the problem with Y2K, very simply put. So they have seen what India and Indians do. Sir, I'll give you one more thing. You tell me which Middle Eastern country which is prosperous today does not depend on Indians for running their country? Qatar, Oman, United Arab Emirates, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. Everywhere it's the Indian diaspora which is taking care of. They don't involve in in any politics. They just put their head down and they are working. So India has proved itself over and over. Again, same thing with this thing also. In United Kingdom also, India constitutes British Indians, I should say. They constitute less than 1% of the population and they contribute 6% to the GDP of UK. 6%. And Muslims are 8% population and nobody knows if there's any value at all. The interesting thing is, if you want to compare, the Jews are, I think, 0.25% and they contribute 12% of the GDP of United Kingdom. 12%. So what I'm trying to say is, Jews, Indians, we've all got this in our DNA. Wherever we go, we enrich that country. Yes, we do become rich, but don't forget the big picture. Don't, you're missing the forest for the trees. Don't do that. And this is something that will be proven at the 6:30 thing that I told you, sir. At 6:30 p.m. with Mohan Sonti, he has spent what? 6 weeks or 8 weeks putting together the data. Just the reference is about 100 numbers, 100 links, General Shankar, because we wanted to get our data right. No point in trying to get emotional about this. You show the data, this is what it is. You decide whether you want Indians or not. That's the question that we're going to ask. So this relationship between an average American and an average Indian is, if anything, is going to get stronger. General Shankar, you don't know what kind of fanfare, pomp happens in Indian weddings. Americans love to come for these weddings because there is Mehndi, there is Sangeet, there is Bharat, there is a wedding, and then there is a reception. Everywhere, Bollywood peppy music with dance, everybody dances. It's a lot of fun. The younger generation knows India through the Bollywood. One of the good things about Bollywood. So I think country to country, they are only very good. Yeah.
Yeah, I go with you on what you're saying. But the fact is, but that's over the horizon. It's not going to happen immediately. For the rest of the Trump tenure, I don't see this relationship mending. We're going to be frosty. It's going to be transactional. And I think India has started becoming transactional. And our method of transactionality is different. Our method of transactionality is not to respond. Trump's method of transactionality is different. Our method of transactionality is this thing. And very clearly, we are trying to find our own way forward. But like you rightly said, I go with you. And I'll show a graphic here, which, what are the binders of this relationship? Like, from a US perspective, like you rightly said, these are the issues which you pointed out. Diaspora. The diaspora is going nowhere. Right? And the talent and the HR which India has is not available anywhere else in the whole world. There's no doubt about what you're saying. And the economic vitality of India, which is coming out. Which is coming out in leaps and bounds. These points which you mentioned forced the US to look at India. They can't run away. Trump, no Trump. And if they do run away, it is for their own, problem. They'll create a problem for themselves. But let's look at it from the Indian perspective. We also have a perspective. Our defense equipment, whether we like it or not, for the past 25 years, we've been procuring defense equipment, right? And that you can't wish away for the next 25, 30 years. So there has to be a relationship. And next is USA is investing into India. There's no two ways about it. It is not just all those chaps who are investing in Greenland only. There are a lot of people who are coming and investing here, whether it's Amazon or Microsoft or Google or all these guys. And then technology. You want to develop technology, it is here in India. So I think these two things will keep USA and India together, but they will not allow this relationship to grow for the next 3 years. After that, I don't know. So I want your views on that major factor. There are binders, you can't get away from each other, and you can't grow beyond a point in this kind of a story. Your views on that?
Shankar, there's another crisis evolving, and it's related to this. That's why I'm saying this. European companies are now going to move away from American software stack. They say that they have their own stack called the Euro stack, and that software is going to be developed around it. Whatever was happening is going to be stopped. See, this is today's news again. So Europe is also suddenly standing up, showing some spine and saying that we will start putting some curbs and restrictions around all the software offerings of the Googles, Amazons, all these people. This means that a considerable segment of an affluent market is going to be made harder for America. So where are American technology companies going to go? Where is the market? The market is in India. Right now, they need this kind of a low-cost development center also that can consume. Sir, in government, everybody uses Microsoft products, right? I don't think anybody uses anything other than that. I don't think so. I mean, Google has had Google Docs free. I don't think serious stuff is written on that. Everybody uses only Microsoft as far as I know. So these big installations are going to get hit if Eurostack becomes a reality. And that means US is losing, friends fast. I just told you about South Korea, additional 25% tariffs. So Trump needs to understand that this tariff this stick can be used only a few times. And he's hiding one big truth. Who is paying the tariff? It is the American consumer. It is you and I, American taxpayer, who's paying the tariff. So this is something that, people, including myself, we need to start highlighting that tariff thing is bogus. You are killing your own people. You don't like the face, so you spite your nose. Is that what it is? So this is a problem, sir. I think somewhere this will become reset. See, Trump is also sensible in the sense that once he sees something isn't working, that's why they call him taco, right? Trump always chickens out. He will pull back. I think India-US free trade agreement, if it's not going to be free trade, if it's going to be just trade agreement, well, too bad. But I think there will be some dependency for each with the other, and that will continue. Like you said, I don't think it's going to improve a whole lot. At the same time, see, also another thing that happened yesterday or day before yesterday, the number of immigration green cards for people who are joining family. For example, parents can join their children who have become citizens in the United States. That quota has been cut big way. Green cards also have been cut in a big way. And these things tell you that America feels it no longer needs Indian talent. Indian talent is growing and it is getting more powerful. And I think many may come back. And that's actually good for India because there are lots of opportunities here. With Google, Microsoft, Amazon, all of them investing, these people will easily get into these kind of jobs because they can hit the ground running from day one. And this will only make things even better with semiconductor companies coming in. That builds an ecosystem around it. It's like, I think for one job, they create like 20 jobs or something. Semiconductors are one of the biggest ancillary unit producers, just like automobiles. These are big deals because you get a lot of ancillary industries, and that itself again, adds more and more to the economy. There will be, hospitals, educational institutions, restaurants, shopping malls, and all these things. Mizoram and sorry, Meghalaya will start suddenly seeing a bunch of malls coming around. So this is a good deal. Yeah, there will be some disruption for those who have to downgrade their spending and lifestyle. India is not going to be as prosperous or as convenient as in United States is. So there are some things like that. But with internet being so powerful in India today, a lot of these things can be ironed out. So there is a bit of an adjustment for many who will have to who may come back to India. But I think they can do it much better today than, you see, I did it in 1995, 96, General Shankar. 95, 96. It was, even email wasn't working properly. It was that hard. So we did it. We stuck it out till 2007. So I think it will be good overall for India. US, I'm not so sure.
Yeah. No, the way I look at it, this is going to be a thing for the next 2-3 years. And when US starts hitting a wall, and US will hit a wall. I mean, it's already hitting a wall the way I look at it. Because I mean, let me analyze it differently for US. US was also too invested into China. It still is,
True.
right? And as China starts going down, the US business interests there will keep getting hit. And if the current instability in China goes out of control, right? And there are good chances, let me tell you this, having seen China for so long and studied it in depth, there are good chances that it might go out of control. It might not, right? And there will be a huge economic black hole which will come up. In which case, US business interests there will take a great hit. It's one thing in USA, one of the problems which will have, and it's always had, is USA needs an enemy, a vibrant enemy to survive, a vibrant adversary to survive. That vibrant adversary is going away. Then how does it survive? A lot of US growth is based on its military industrial complex and all that, plus the developments that go by that, plus the in research R&D which goes into all that. So that's going to go. That's on shaky wicket. So US is going to get hit there. Plus their business investments are going to get hit. So as a result, where is the alternative in scale to China? It's in India. It's only a matter of time before Mr. Trump and Scott Bessent and Lutnick and Navarro and all this gang start realizing. And that is where that picture which I showed of Sergio Gore in the beginning will come back into play. And this will come back. My own way of looking at it is maybe sometime next year. I'll take a year for this, by which a lot of end plays would have taken place. People will start realizing India is out of a box. It's gone. That's when USA will come to India. And we'll see then what happens. There'll be some trade deal, something will happen. Yeah, something like that will happen. But I want you to look at this. It is my view, right? India is searching a third path. It's neither USA nor China. If you see here closely in this little graphic which I put, USA and China are shown are in red. It is EU, Russia, Japan, Brazil, and the global south which are in blue. Right? I want your comments on this, whatever you have. I'm not going to say which is the third path, all that, good, bad, ugly. Your view, which I mean, just say what you
General
have.
Shankar, General Shankar, one of the things that India has done is whoever they have partnered with, they don't go and try to do it all themselves. Like you take IIT Madras campus in Tanzania, right? What they're doing is, initial thing, there may be some professors from India who will be working there. But the idea is to have Tanzania generate its own pool. So that, because this is for the whole of Africa that they are trying to have these technological institutes. So America is not the kind of country that does it. China has definitely not done it. So India is different. in terms of how it approaches dealing with various countries. We talked about Indian contribution in some of the Middle Eastern countries. Now let's take a look at, go back to that circle, that map, sir. I see India being very close to Global South, Brazil, and Japan. And it already is sort of close. I'm not saying very close, sort of close with Russia. Something equitable might happen with the EU also. Leaving, see, then you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries working closely together, keeping USA out and China out. And that would be a big problem for them. It's actually, that's why I say, if US pushes India away, it's a problem more for the United States, not India. India has never really gone and, they've never gone and attacked, invaded any other country. How many countries can boast that?
Yeah.
Sir, there are stories of Indian merchants going all the way up to Japan. In Japan, they call us as Hindu. Same with China also. When you ask them, what do you call Indians in your language? They say Hindu. So what the father would do is he would say, look, I am committing that I will give you this in next consignment, 1 year, 2 years time. It is possible that I may not live that long, but I guarantee you my son will come and deliver what I have promised you. And this has been kept up for a long time. So there's a lot of innate trust that Indians are always people who keep their word.
Yeah.
How many people are you going to, how many countries are going to, how many countries is US going to say where they keep their word, sir? India has. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I go with you. I think you invoked a very important thing called trust, right? And the fact that you also this thing, like, like I put out in this, India has options. India has the trust of people. I mean, very funnily, even USA and China trust India. Notwithstanding the fact that we are adversarial to them, they trust us to do the right thing. And they feel this trust is a weakness. You see, that's the difference which I want to put across. USA and China see the trust which India generates as a weakness because it comes from their mentality. Whereas even EU for that long time, now they're trying to turn a corner because USA has put them on the rack, China has put them on the rack, and they need someone, so they say, we trust India. We'll see, let's see, because it's early days for EU. But look at Russia, look at Japan, look at Brazil, and look at the global south. They trust India, the fact. And a lot of our ways will open because of this trust factor. Because I want you to talk a little more on that, because this is a factor which is very powerful and often underplayed and not understood. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I will beg your forgiveness in about 10 minutes time when I have to go and do another channel, but this will run. Yeah. So let me tell you, viewers, you go to any of the ASEAN countries, Southeast Asian countries, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, and even Korea or Taiwan or even mainland China. Okay. So there are so many strands that, that bond so strongly with India. Don't look at their political dispensations in these countries, but look at one-on-one, man-to-man, person-to-person. See how much similarity we have. By the way, viewers, I don't know how many of you watch South Korean web series on Netflix. I love them because it's so, I mean, they may be Christian, they may be Buddhist, but it doesn't matter. The dharma is the same. And the guy will say, if I succeed in my endeavor, I will do 108 bows in front of Lord Buddha. Where did the 108 number come from? Sanatana Dharma. So see, there is so many things that are underneath just at the layer. Also, the South Korean serial, their respect for their parents is huge. Take a look at that. I mean, I think Indian children also can learn from this. Very slickly made serials. Take a look at that. And India as a what do you call, as a content producer also is well regarded. 1997, General Ravi Shankar, 1997. I go to a mall in South Korea. I think it was Seoul. We went there to eat, and then suddenly, you know what? The music is being piped. All Daler Mehendi songs. Hak chicken, hak chicken, hak chicken. That's what was being played. And say, we love Daler Mehendi songs. This is 97. So there is an underlying current of goodwill because of, not because you and I, but because of what our ancestors have done many hundreds of years ago. So that will start bearing fruit, in my opinion. And there are some riffraffs like Bangladesh and Pakistan, but they will eventually, they'll have
Well,
no other place to go. But
Bangladesh,
it might be longer.
Pakistan,
Let it be.
yeah.
There is much
I
more
think,
to be done outside of that.
yeah, I think we've had a terrific discussion, and I don't see any questions. It's very surprising. A lot of people are watching, and they no questions. They're giving their opinions, and I leave it at that. Uh, so we've had a very interesting 50 minutes so far. Okay, India and US are at a turning point which largely USA has created, and Mr. Trump has created. As Trump exits, as he must in about 3 years' time, will the turning point come back or not is to be seen. Let's see, right? But the fact remains that today we are on divergent axis. We need to understand. The fact also remains that certain binders are there which will not allow us to go further. We are going to be here. Your final words, and then we'll call it a day.
Before we end this thing, I just want to tell one more thing. Sir, recently a ship called Kaundinya sailed based on a 7th century architecture that was unearthed from Ellora. The naval team did a fantastic job. All no screw, no metal, everything done with wood and coir ropes and things of that nature. They sailed successfully. They called it Kaundinya. If you go to Cambodia, Angkor Wat area, right? Now, Angkor Wat is the big piece, but there are lots of small stories. And there is one story of a brick temple. And that brick temple, I think, is for Shiva. And the temple was constructed by a priest who came from southern part of India. He married into local royalty, and that's how the temple got built. It's a brick temple, not stone temple, because only late 7th century, late 8th century, Pallava started building temples with rock. Before that, you did not have temples with rock. Murti was always rock. So, you know what the name of that person is, sir? Kaundinya. And the temple has a special side section for the 7th century Tamil poet Karakal Ammayar. It's there. It's written in Tamil. He has built it out of respect for her. So you see how far and how deep these roots go. Like, again, another place called Kulen Mountain. If you go there, 1,000 lingas, all on the waterbed, and the thing flows over it. And there was a reason why they did that. They wanted to make the water less salty so that it could be used for irrigation. It was too salty. Or I should say, too many dissolved salts. Might not be just salty, but dissolved salts. And they fixed it. They found a way to put herbs, paste on the lingams. And so water gently flows over it. The paste starts, dissolving into the water. By the time the water hits the plains, the water is arable, usable, drinkable, livable, everything. If anything, the Angkor Wat collapsed because the river changed course and they didn't know what to do. Anyway, that's another side story there. You and I have discussed this many times. So that's my 2 cents, sir. India has a huge, what I would call deposit, which is Sanatana Dharma. And this will make itself appear soon. Over to you, sir.
Oh, thanks a lot. I thought you gave a good finale to what we were speaking. India has confidence of itself. India has confidence of its own history, its own civilizational. And as a civilizational power, we'll keep discovering our strengths. I brought this on today because things are evolving, right? And as we're going to speak, maybe in a couple of hours, the India EU FTA and the defense agreement will get signed. Maybe in the evening or maybe tomorrow morning, we're going to talk of that. Join in then. Till then, do subscribe to P Gurus. Also, do subscribe to Gana Shot. Have a great day and have a good Tuesday. Thank you and Jai Hind, and thanks a lot, Sree. Jai Hind to you also.
Thank you so much, sir.